Joe Vitt brought the same Super Bowl trophy into the team meeting, telling the guys, gentlemen, we can't play for this year. But the next 3 games, you will be evaluated, critiqued, judged on whether or not you will be with us next year to play for one. And that's especially true today, because if you can't hold your own against a division rival, we can't hold on to you. Tom, that is how you motivate a team not going to the playoffs.
Laura, thank you very, very much. Of course, Joe Vitt keeping the seat warm, if you will, for Sean Payton, who's been suspended for the entire season after Bountygate. And on the other side, in his first year, after 11 seasons as head coach collegiately at Rutgers University, Greg Schiano has done a very nice job with his Tampa Bay Buccaneer team.
And both these coaches talked about the challenge of holding these teams together over the next 3 weeks. Clearly, both these coaches are going to be here going forward. They made sure their players understood if they want to be a part of what goes on next year, they've got to perform in these next 3 games.
Saints won the toss and elected to get the football. They have been streaky teams, both the Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs had a 3-game losing streak early. We saw them on the heels of a 4-game winning streak, and now they've lost 3 in a row. Of course, for New Orleans, began the year at 0-4, won 5 of the next 6 to get to 500. They have been humiliated the last 3 weeks against division leaders San Francisco, Atlanta, and gave up 52 to the Giants last week.
Well, the strengths and weaknesses of these two teams match up. You talk about the explosiveness of a Tampa Bay team and against a defense that has given up a lot of explosive plays. And on the flip side of that, Tampa Bay, yeah, they lead the league in rushing off defense, but mainly because people don't even try because they're so easy to throw on. And Drew Brees, regardless of the record, this talented New Orleans offense is still one of the best passing offenses in the National Football League.
All right, we're set to go. Michael Kanan puts it on the tee, spins it away. Tramaris Cadet, 4 yards out of his own end zone. Out across the 20 and dropped at the 25-yard line. With so many weapons on this New Orleans Saints offense, their 3rd in total offense in the NFL, and already, after spending the entire week hurt with an injured toe, their fullback Jed Collins is down on the opening kickoff of the game.
And that's significant because Joe Vitt told us that we definitely want to run the ball today. He's right here in the middle. And if they're going to run the ball the way they said they want to, obviously the fullback is a big part of it. So this could change the game planning for the New Orleans Saints, at least early.
Collins, originally signed by Philadelphia in 2008 as an undrafted free agent, spent the entire season on the practice squad before New Orleans picked him up. And he's injured as we're just underway. Back in a moment.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
You're starting that.
Well, here we go. Collins able to get up and walk off the field. We'll update you on his condition. First down and an immediate throw. And a catch by the tight end, Jimmy Graham. And that's a gain of 12 on first down for the Saints. And Brian, so many weapons both in the passing game and the running game for Drew Brees.
Well, in the backfield with Pierre Thomas and Mark Ingram, Jimmy Graham did not play the first time these two teams met. And Jay Glazer's reporting he's going to have wrist surgery in the offseason. Marcus Colston, obviously a big part of the big plays down the field.
Saints number 3 overall in total offense, 26th in rushing, 2nd in passing. And the first carry of the afternoon from Mark Ingram, coming off his best game in the NFL. There is a penalty flag down. Our referee today, Mike Carey, in his 23rd year.
Holding, offense number 19, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So a pretty good carry on first down, negated on the holding penalty by New Orleans.
On the outside, Devery Henderson coming right in here and just basically just kind of, wrestles him down to the ground, and really didn't need to. He had in great position. The play had already bounced outside.
So rather than 2nd down and 4, it's first down and 20 from the Saints' own 28-yard line. Empty backfield, and there is Here's the aforementioned Marcus Colston, the Saints' leading receiver, his 66th catch of the year. That'll be a gain of 13. Talk about Tampa Bay, Brian. #1 against the run, dead last against the pass.
Well, Gerald McCoy anchors it inside. You've got two rookies, Levante David and Mark Barron, having a big impact on this defense, and that's contrasted by Rondé Barber, his 213th start.
Consecutive start.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And his 238th consecutive game played, the all-time leader in Buccaneers franchise history. About a month ago, passing the Hall of Famer Derek Brooks. And they pitch it to the left side. This is Darren Sproles. First down into Buccaneers territory, run out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
That's truly the unique thing about Darren Sproles. You can legitimately put him in the backfield, and you're going to see him get outside the edge of this defense. Typically a Darren Sproles, you figure he's going to motion out or shift out into more of a receiver position, but he is very much a legitimate running back when he gets in behind the quarterback, and that speed and explosiveness, everybody in the league is looking for a Darren Sproles type player.
They fake it to him this time and dump it off to the backup tight end, David Thomas, and that's a gain of 12. Thomas down to the Buccaneer 31-yard line. Boy, they're clicking right from the get-go here today in the Big Easy.
And you're going to see here, watch him move back underneath. They fake the pitch to Darren Sproles, which they just gained a ton of yards, and go back the other way with a little boot and waggle to Thomas.
13, 13, 15, gain of 12. The first plays from scrimmage for the Saints. Take it to Thomas, and then they dump it off on the screen. Pierre Thomas, close to the 10-yard line. Boy, he has been so good for this Saints team. Since signing as a college free agent back in 2007 out of Illinois.
Well, they've got a great stable of backs, and this is the type of thing, he's in there primarily for the running game, but you can screen to any of their backs, including Ingram, obviously with Darren Sproles. That's a huge advantage when they can all fill that same role.
It's nice to see, by the way, Jed Collins, injured on the opening kickoff, is back in the game. Just outside the 11. And right back in the hands of Thomas, this time on the ground. He's inside the 10. That'll be a gain of 3, tripped up by Anthony Gator. His secondary so beat up for the Buccaneers. They have guys playing that, quite honestly, they had no inkling of getting on the field when the season began.
Yeah, when you talk about starting rookies like Mark Barron, Leonard Johnson, we talked about, it is a growth curve for those young rookies. And as we said, they are last in the league in pass defense.
Second down, Breeze to Thomas, and a touchdown for the Saints on the game's opening drive. League leading 33rd touchdown pass of the year for Drew Brees, and for Thomas his third. What an impressive opening drive.
And this is certainly what the Saints are capable of. The key is what happens next. Thomas there on the edge. We've already seen him catch one little boot and waggle. With all the weapons they have, and Colston and Graham, you got to know the least of Tampa Bay's concerned might be a David Thomas, and it was there, and he got the score.
Garrett Hartley for the point after, and it is good. So Breeze, 5 of 5 on the opening drive. Capped off by the touchdown and the lay-in by Thomas. 7-0 New Orleans.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Early celebration here at the Superdome on a touchdown pass from Breeze to David Thomas. Breeze perfect on that drive. Thomas Morstead to kick it away. And he boots it through the end zone. I'd like to remind you, coming up January the 4th, one of the best bowl games of the year. It's going to be a great one. Heisman Trophy winner, one of the most talked about players in the country.
Johnny Football, you can't do better than that.
Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against 11th-ranked Oklahoma. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, January the 4th, only on Fox. So now 24-year-old Josh Freeman up under center as the outstanding rookie runner behind him, Doug Martin. They fake the pitch and drop it off to Eric Lorig out of the backfield, and that's a gain of 2. Dallas Clark making that reception rather than Lorig, I beg your pardon. Short gain on first down, and Dallas Clark's had a nice year after 9 seasons with Indianapolis.
Yeah, he's 3rd in the NFL by tight ends since he's come into the league. Vincent Jackson may be the best free agent pickup in the offseason, leads the league in yards per catch.
Martin cuts it back to the inside, up to the 26-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 4. Tampa Bay generally is very good on its opening drive. But first we take a look at this much maligned Saints defense.
Well, Cameron Jordan has been better in putting pressure on the outside. Curtis Lofton came over from the Falcons. Roman Harper's been doing this forever. They're without Malcolm Jenkins today. Esa Abdullah Dacus. There you go. That's the last time I'm going to attempt that one. Isa. I'm going to go with that from here on. Abdul Dacus.
Put it down at 4. Knocked down. Big hit, big pressure. Junior Gillette putting the heat on Freeman, and it is 3 and out.
And that's the pressure here. You're just going to see the inability to convert on 3rd down. The pressure on Josh Freeman in a game like this is keeping up with Drew Brees, and that's what brings about a lot of pressure. They have been inefficient. As big as play offenses they are down the field, they've been very inefficient, and it shows up on 3rd down. He's under 60% completion percentage on the year.
Quite as rare for this Saints defense, forcing a 3 and out, the 3rd fewest number of those among all teams in the league. Sproles tackled at the 25. There is a penalty flag down right at the 25. Good punt by Keenan, 55 yards.
Holding by the receiving team, number 21. 10-yard penalty. They retain possession. First down.
That's Patrick
Timeout.
Robinson.
Well, he's got the edge on him, and at the last minute, you get a little bit of jersey there. Again, kind of pedestrian in nature, but it was just enough to get the call, the typical kickoff return penalty we see every time we get a kickoff.
Mardi Gras, Brian, only 57 days away. That's a Lombardi Trophy float from the kickoff parade in 2010 following the Saints Super Bowl win. Of course, this year's Super Bowl will be played right here at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Under Mike 5-9. Yellow ready. Yellow waiting. Yellow waiting.
7-0 Saints after the penalty. Drew Brees and company start this drive from their own 10-yard line. Pierre Thomas spins out of 1 tackle and able to pick up 3 yards on first down.
And we're seeing already from the Saints in the first drive and in this drive here the constant rotation of personnel. In their opening 15 plays, you're going to see multiple personnel groupings and multiple formations. This is Drew Brees' way of probing that defense to see how you're going to match up with this talented receiving core so that he can decide what matchup he wants to go at as he progresses in the game. They opened the series, their opening drive with a touchdown drive. Now we're going to see what matchups are looking for here.
Packer right 57. Packer right 5-7. Ready 5-7.
2nd down and 7, and Brees, good protection. Thomas took a heavy hit from the rookie Lavonte David, a 2nd-round pick out of Nebraska who's had an outstanding freshman campaign for the Bucs.
They couldn't talk enough about Lavonte David, particularly from the standpoint he's calling the defenses. To have a rookie call your defense from the get-go is very impressive. They say he just keeps growing into that leadership role.
Well, they look at his 2012 draft, and you're talking about Martin, Mark Barron, Lavonte David, harkening back to that 1995 draft that produced Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. Had a chance to be a great class for the Bucs. Third down. And through the fingertips of Darren Sproles, he would have run from here to Baton Rouge if he hangs on to this one.
You talk about personnel groupings and formations, trying to create this very matchup. Darren Sproles out of the backfield against the rookie Levante David. You don't get too many of those types of shots. Drew Brees knows they just missed an opportunity.
That's been a big thing for this Saints offense. I mean, as many yards as they have piled up. 30th dropped pass of the year. 4th most among all teams in the league. And this one is hammered by Morstead. Let's see what they spotted. The 23-yard line. What a punt. 60 yards. So now Freeman and the Buccaneers get the ball for the second time after going 3 and out in round 1. Brian, how does a player try to explain to you that he dropped a pass?
Well, it's one of those. Well, what did you see? That's when your really good coaching comes out. It's, son, you can't do that. You got to catch that ball. That's why they give you the big bucks.
And now Freeman and the Buccaneers from their own 23. They put it in the hands of Martin. Well, what a year this young man has had. The second of 2 first-round picks behind Barron was Doug Martin out of Boise State. Last week, 128 rushing yards. 94 of them came in the second half. 4 100-yard rushing games and closing in with a shot at breaking the all-time Buccaneers single-season record of James Wilder. He's 311 yards away.
Both coaches in Tampa Bay and New Orleans talked about how much more authoritative he's running with the ball.
Once more, a big hit put on Freeman. This one by Will Smith. And it's 3rd down and 7.
I know Josh Freeman was under pressure there with Will Smith, but those are the type of passes that has hurt this Tampa Bay offense. Josh Freeman, as good as they've been down the field, as I mentioned earlier, they're under 60% in completion percentage. That was a very catchable situation. Now you've left yourself with a 3rd and long.
Beautifully thrown ball and a catch out of the backfield by DJ Ware, and that's a 1st down up to the 49-yard line.
Same type of play we saw from New Orleans with Sproles. You're going to see the running back coming out of the backfield and getting the matchup with the linebacker who stepped up. He thought it might have been a run. He was supposed to blitz peel, which means I pressure if the back stays in, but then go with him on coverage, and now he's out there with nothing in front of him. DJ Ware making the most of his opportunity.
First down here in this opening quarter for the Buccaneers. And at the 49, they hand it off to Martin. And not much running room there. A gain of close to 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. This has been a big turnaround offensively for this Tampa Bay team after all the problems they had a year ago, coming on the heels of the 10-win season in 2010. They are among the most prolific offensive teams in the NFL.
And it's that combination, what Doug Martin has given them in the running game, sets up the play-action passes, and that's where the big plays in the passing game come from, off play-action passes.
Vincent Jackson at the top of your screen. But a crossing pattern by once more the tight end Dallas Clark, and that is to the New Orleans 44. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3.
Tampa uses Dallas Clark much like New Orleans uses Jimmy Graham. They'll flank him outside the body of the formation to see what the matchup is. You walk a linebacker out there, you walk a safety out there. Mike Sullivan, the offensive coordinator, knows he's got a lot of weapons to work with, but it all revolves around the running game and Doug Martin.
How about that throw, and how about that catch by Mike Williams? That was good coverage by Patrick Robinson. But the 6'2", 212-pounder went up and got it.
This is the classic back shoulder throw. Remember, Williams, before Vincent Jackson showed up, I think got away with just a little bump there. Nothing egregious. But he was kind of the #1 guy. I don't know that he's a #1 receiver. He has really blossomed with the presence of Vincent Jackson. Teams have to account for Jackson. That gives Mike Williams the one-on-one matchups like we just saw.
Martin trying to cut it back to the inside and closing ground quickly was Tom Johnson. Big fella coming down the line from his defensive tackle spot.
This offensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you see Zutah getting up a little slowly, has been hit a little bit by injury.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they lost Carl Nix to injury, Jeremy Truebud, who lost his starting position, but still plays well.
Gavin Joseph lost him as well.
Absolutely. So they've taken a hit and held up pretty good.
Second down and 10. Good protection this time, and it's intercepted. Poorly thrown ball by Freeman. And into the arms of Jabari Greer. It's only the second interception inside the red zone thrown by Josh Freeman this season.
Yeah, and that was a tough one because we saw the pass earlier, same type of throw to Dallas Clark, but Jabari Greer at corner is a lot more adept at taking on a Dallas Clark from the outside than we saw earlier with a linebacker and safety, and I don't know that Josh Freeman took that into account.
So 7-0. Saints in front. Spinning out of one tackle, spinning out of the second is Ingram. That'll be a gain of close to 4 on first down.
Yeah, you can go back to it right here. You're going to see him run the same route we just saw him completed against, but it was against a linebacker or a safety. Jabari Greer, right from the get-go, recognizes what's going on and jumps on it just like a good corner will.
Greer's been around a long time. Originally came up with the Buffalo Bills, signed as a free agent and a big part of their championship team from 3 years ago here with the Saints. Second and 6, pump fake one way. Then out of the backfield it Sproles. What a nice tackle made by Leonard Johnson. And let's check in. Back in Los Angeles, a big start for the Falcons today.
Yes, sir. Trying to wrap up home field advantage today against the Giants. Matt Ryan hooking up with Tony Gonzalez, 12-yard score. Falcons have had the ball twice, scored touchdowns each time. They lead at 14-0 in the first quarter. Tom, Brian, and Laura.
Let's remember that playoff game last year where the Falcons were humiliated by the Giants. That's an important mental game, don't you think, today, Brian, for Atlanta?
Absolutely. Just like Atlanta getting past these New Orleans Saints a couple weeks ago, playing the Giants well was key.
Jimmy Graham up to the 41, and that is a first down.
Again, we talk about matchups. You see Jimmy Graham on Anthony Gator. Or excuse me, they try to peel off and cover him with Morgan Aaron. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know that you want to see that matchup too much with a defensive end like Morgan Aaron on Jimmy Graham too often.
First down and out of the backfield. Catch is made by Sproles. They try to cut it back to the outside and got up to the 43-yard line. 2 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. And the Saints with a 7-0 lead, scoring on their first drive of the afternoon.
Well, we continue to see the constant rotation of personnel and formations. We've already seen a couple matchups like we saw with Aaron Morgan and Jimmy Graham. Just the constant movement of personnel and formations create those kind of mismatches.
And around, they put it in the hands of Devery Henderson. Still on his feet. He stepped out of bounds. Back at the Buccaneer 44-yard line, but the carry is good enough for a first down.
And that's the great thing here. You can run these kind of reverses right there. You can just see him coming from the in line with so many people. Devery Henderson. We've seen it with Marcus Colston. Obviously with Darren Sproles. You can even see it with the Jimmy Graham. They can do this with virtually anybody in their receiving corps.
So first down at the 44-yard line. Saints trying to increase their lead from 7-0. Play action. all day to throw. And that's Colston to the 17. Well, you give Drew Brees that kind of time, and you are in a load of trouble.
Yeah, Tampa Bay has not been able to put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks, and this is just a deep pivot route. He's sitting in the open zone. He saw where Levante David was, so he drifted back into the hole. Drew Brees could see where the hole was. He counted on Marcus Colston to pull up and recognize, I think I'll just sit here and get the pass.
Tampa Bay late getting substitutions on the field. Out of the shotgun, quick slap catch. Made inside the 10, down to the 7. First time we called the name of Lance Moore. His 54th catch of the season.
Well, you can see right here, what do we talk about? The number of different personnels between regular, which is 2 back and a tight end, 2 tight ends, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers. And believe me, there are multiple variations of their 2 tight ends. They may have 2 and 3 variations of their 3 wides.
End of the first quarter, 7-0 Saints. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from their local Fox station. Bracciano bringing his entire defense to the sideline in between quarters. He does not look happy.
Well, he knew he had to challenge this group after the disappointing loss to Philly last week and literally the last play. And this is a young group that's going to grow. They've had a lot of injuries, but he knows he's got to push them through these last 3 games so that they can finish strong, which is typically a stepping stone to playing and starting well next year.
First and goal for New Orleans at the Tampa Bay 6-yard line.
Ready.
Sproles tries to turn it back to the inside. Wrapped up and thrown to the deck by Mason Foster. Remember, he was a rookie a year ago, much like David this year is a leader of the defense. Was their leading tackler last season. A couple of good young linebackers for this Buccaneers team moving forward.
They are, and we talked about that. This is a young team. You already mentioned Mark Barron, Leonard Johnson, who really struggled last week against Philadelphia. But these are young guys. They're going to be together for a while. They're building a good base on the defensive side.
Well, their hands full today with Brees and the Bucs. And is that a catch by Cadet? It is at the 2-yard line. What a nice catch there.
Yeah, if it is a catch, I don't know. Looks like it bounced off the turf. Again, I don't know that given this down and distance and the lack of any real yardage, I don't know that you challenge this because I don't know that you gain that much.
Well, you'd be 3rd and goal from the 7 or the 6 instead of 3rd and goal at the 2. Bracciano does not challenge the call on the field, so it's 3rd down and goal and movement on the left side. Jermon Bushrod.
False start. Offense number 74, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Bushrod, a Pro Bowler for the first time a year ago.
Yeah, I think he was victimized there a little bit by, you saw Lance Moore move out a little bit. I'm not sure Drew Brees wasn't looking to change the play to take advantage of that. And all of a sudden it changed the pacing and Bushrod came up short.
So now they're back to the spot that they had not ruled it a catch.
So it was a good non-challenge.
That's right. 3rd down. Brees. And jarred loose on a big hit made by Ahmad Black. Former Florida Gator. Jarring that one loose from the hands of Jimmy Graham.
I'm amazed that if Jimmy Graham truly, if his wrist requires surgery in the offseason, that he's really playing to get today. I don't know what the nature of the surgery is going to be, but for a receiver to have your wrist in that kind of situation can't feel real good.
25-yard field goal attempt by Garrett Hartling, 13 out of 16 on the year. And snap, good hold, and right down the middle. So they settle for the field goal. Opening minutes of the second quarter, 10-0 Saints.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new Ford Fusion. Go further. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Citizen Echo Drive. Fueled by light, a watch that never needs a battery.
Believe it or not, the St. Charles streetcars, the oldest continuously operating street railway system in the world, began service back in September of 1835. That's when Brian Billick was in his first year with the Ravens.
To be a great city, you have to have trolleys or streetcars, don't you? Or at least the L in Chicago. All the trolleys in San Francisco, right? That's my qualifier for a great city.
All right. I remember that when you say something nice about a city that doesn't have it. And I will hold you to that, Brian Billick. From now on, we come to New Orleans, you better be checking out some of these street-lined mansions.
That's right. It's pretty good.
They're hoping he can ignite this Tampa Bay offense and get something started. They got down into the red zone their last drive before the interception thrown by Freeman. Only his 9th interception thrown the entire year.
It's out here. He's used to this coming out of Boise State. He knows what to do when he's put out in the slot like this.
Right through the fingers of Dallas Clark. We invite you to join the NFL celebrating 50 years of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a golden anniversary. Why not visit Canton, Ohio? More than 10 million fans have. Visit ProFootballHOF.com for more details. No running room for Martin. Picked up a yard. First man to slow him down, Cedric Ellis. And Jordan and a host of others here to tackle Freeman and bring up, or Martin rather, and bring up a 3rd down and 9.
That's the thing about Martin. That doesn't seem like a big play, but Doug Martin is so strong with his running style. He very rarely leaves you in a 2nd and long, a 3rd and long. That easily could have been a 3rd and 12 or 13, but even there he was able to get positive yards.
DJ Ware comes on out of the backfield. He had the big 3rd down catch, you may remember their last drive. Blitz coming. Freeman rolling. Throws. Williams about a yard short of the 1st down.
And this is where you really have to rely on the receiver to know where he is on the field. He may have to get that last yard or 2 on your own. At the very least, stretch the ball out and give yourself a chance to get the 1st down.
Second time in 3 possessions the Buccaneers have gone 3 and out, and we brought up earlier 3 and out. That is rarefied air for this Saints defense, giving up nearly 440 yards per game. Short punt and a fair catch called by Sproles. Looked like he had a little bit of running room there. Of course, that's easy to say when you're sitting up here. 10-0 Saints coming back on offense. Well, they call it the Big Easy. For many waking up early on a Sunday morning, maybe the not so easy.
Are you alluding to anybody in particular?
Well, we want to send out a happy birthday to our statistician up here in the booth each and every week, Mr. Tom Barbary. He might fit that bill.
Ready, Mike 5-9. Ready, play shot.
1st down. And thrown behind Henderson. And then juggled into the air and nearly intercepted by Danny Gordon.
And this is your worst nightmare when a slant route like that gets bounced around and bounces up in the air where a couple people have a shot at it. He threw it in the only place he really could. It was all but a back hip catch. Would have been a difficult catch. But certainly you've seen Devery Henderson make several of those.
Saints in front 10-0. 12 minutes to play until halftime. From the Superdome and looking for the long ball. Caught, but out of bounds. And that's how they dial up young Joseph Morgan in his 2nd year out of Walsh College. That's in the state of Ohio. last week had 2 catches, one for 66, the other for 44.
Well, Devery Henderson has been their big play speed guy down the field, but now with Josh Morgan, that gives them 2 guys that can, as they say, take the top off a defense.
Third down and 10 at the 31-yard line. Breeze dancing around, wrapped up, and then just let it go. Daquan Bowers had him around the legs, and I'm not sure they called that a sack.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're spotting it there, calling it in the grasp.
Good call.
Yeah, and you can't, clearly the rule is designed so that you can't avoid a sack simply by throwing the ball away. That in the grasp is also intended to protect the quarterback because you don't want him to now get undue shots once he's in the grasp.
So now Morstead punts from his own 10-yard line. Roscoe Parrish waiting on another beautiful punt. But lots of running room. Out kicked his coverage. And Parrish across midfield. Slammed to the deck by Jonathan Casillas. But not before a big return. There is a penalty flag down behind the line of scrimmage.
Team number 47. That 10-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of the run. First down.
So they'll tack on 10 more yards at the end of that outstanding return. 39 yards by Roscoe Parrish. Buccaneers in business when we come back.
Jonathan Casillas, this shows you what hustle on special teams is all about. You're on the opposite side of the field. You don't think you're a factor, and all of a sudden, boom, you get a nice little hit like that.
And after the penalty, the 4th already today against the Saints. Buccaneers start this drive at the 33, and they pitch it to Martin. Daylight in front of him. And he is spun down, but not before a gain of 11. Best carry of the afternoon so far. And what has been a quiet day offensively so far for Tampa Bay. They did, on their second possession, get inside the red zone before Freeman threw the interception to Jabari Greer.
And let's remember last week, New Orleans was victimized by the New York Giants. They got jump-started with a couple special teams play that got them going. I'm talking about the Giants now. Tampa Bay's got to hope this big special teams play has set them up for their first score.
That was 287 kick return yards allowed by the Saints in that loss in the Meadowlands. And Will Smith waiting on Martin after the handoff, and we check in back in Los Angeles.
Well, if you wonder why Adrian Peterson had 1,600 yards coming into today, take no further look than this play. His 9th carry of the game, he takes it 82 yards for the touchdown. More importantly, it puts the Vikings up as they try to keep their playoff hopes alive, 14-7 in St. Louis. Tom and Brian and Laura.
Those hopes are very much alive.
And with Chicago ahead of Green Bay, this is going to get interesting in the NFC North.
Well, big ones today for Washington on the road at Cleveland. Later today, Dallas home against Pittsburgh. And wide open in the end zone was Williams, and Freeman missed him. Wow.
And I'm putting a little of this on Mike Williams. It looks like rather than running through the catch, got a great double move, but he's kind of running sideways a little bit, expecting the ball a little earlier. Run through the catch, and they might have had a touchdown.
He went right by Jabari Greer. So now 3rd and 14. Blitz coming, they pick it up, and right into the arms of Raphael Bush. And much like Reggie used to run it, wearing that number, he's dancing around, and now into the open field, and caught from behind by Mike Williams. 2nd red zone interception today by Josh Freeman. That one was nowhere near the intended receiver.
I think that was a case of Freeman and Vincent Jackson not being on the same page. I want you to, Jackson just heads down the top of the numbers. It looked like Freeman thought he was going to break it off and make his way into the hash, and Vincent Jackson was just screaming down the numbers. That was miscommunication between the quarterback and the receiver. You can see right there the frustration, kind of looking up at the field, either with himself or with Vincent Jackson for not seeing it the same way.
40-yard return by Bush. And now the Saints with 9:23 to play until halftime. Handed off to Ingram, slowed down initially by David. And then Bennett there on the stop.
You get to show that you can be a starter in this league and that you can keep balling. You get to just keep showing that you're a baller, dog, and why you should be in the football. You get a chance to just ball out and fight for your spot and let people know that you deserve to be here. We got an opportunity, dog. Don't not waste it.
Words of encouragement for the Saints defense by the injured Malcolm Jenkins, who went on injured reserve with a hamstring injury this week.
And make no mistake, you know, the defense of the New Orleans Saints, which has been the issue for the Saints, it's a talented group. You got a bunch of first rounders in there.
Defense number 71, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Cedric Ellis, Cam Jordan, you got Will Smith, Broderick Bunkley, all but a first rounder with Philadelphia. You got Jonathan Vilma is in that group, and then Patrick Peterson. So there's talent in that group. It's just a matter of them coming together as a group, just as Malcolm Jenkins was challenging them, going one by one. This is why you need to play well today. This is why you need to play well today.
Pitch it to Darren Sproles. And after the penalty on 2nd down and 8, he gets about 3 of that back. There is a flag down once again.
Holding, offense number 74. 10-yard penalty is still second down.
Second penalty today on their left tackle, Bushrod. And we'll take a look over there at
wow,
Adam Hayward.
And that shows you the frustration of the season. We talked about the emotional difficulty for this Bucs team that was in the thick of the playoff run before they gave up literally a last-second loss to Philadelphia. And he going at linebacker coach Brian Cox, who in his own day was a fiery player. You can see the frustration of the season boiling up for the Buccaneers.
Well, Brian Cox was a fiery player, wasn't he? Penalty flag comes in. That looked like pretty good coverage here by Anthony Gator, but we wait on the flag.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 26, 5-yard penalty, automatic.
So Gator apparently had a hold on it.
Yeah, here in the slot against Lance Moore, just as he goes by, just that little bit of a turn, you can see it almost wheels Lance Moore all the way around.
So with it comes the automatic first down. We talked about whether it's injuries or suspensions. Back in that Tampa Bay secondary since this year began. Of course, they traded away Aqib Talib to New England. It's a loss of a yard on first down by Ingram. McCoy there, Hayward there. Eric Wright recently suspended. And some of the other defensive players, along with Nix and Joseph on the offensive side, that are no longer available for Coach Schiano.
And you never use that as an excuse, but this is a team that was in the thick of a playoff hunt and still are. They're mathematically still in it, not maybe practically, but mathematically. But when you see the heart of that group right there, that's a lot to be missing for a team that's trying to fight for the playoffs.
Breeze throws incomplete. Graham looking for a flag over there on David. A flag which does not come. Third down coming up.
Graham in the slot here. There again, we talk about matchups. We've seen the matchups that now moving Graham out into the slot receiver. They have basic personnel, so you end up with a linebacker, Levante David, doing a phenomenal job. But normally that's a matchup that would lean towards the New Orleans Saints when you got Jimmy Graham on a rookie and a linebacker like Levante David.
Third down and 11 after the interception and great field position to begin this drive. Blitz coming on Breeze. Throws and left it in the air, and Colston hauls it in. That is a first down to the 34, and my, oh my, did Breeze take a hit.
Nice job picking up the pressure, but at the end of the day, you're going to see leakage that Drew Brees didn't see this ball caught. I promise you that, as it come through and lights him up. Gerald McCoy getting a hit on Brees. I'm not even sure if he knew that Colston was there. He was just hoping somebody in a black jersey was going to catch that thing.
Well, what a hit indeed by Gerald McCoy, former #1 pick out of Oklahoma, getting better and better. First down, and this is Ingram coming off his best game as a pro last week in that loss against the Giants.
I thought the pickup of Mark Ingram 2 years ago in the draft was one of the best pickups possible, because you're talking about obviously one of the best passing attacks in the league, but you add the physical presence of a Mark Ingram, and not just a good running back, but a physically punishing running back. Put him with Pierre Thomas, add in Darren Sproles, notwithstanding the difficulties on and off the field this Saints team had. This has been huge. You're going to see Sproles already broken out down below. Let's see if they want to take advantage of that matchup.
Pump fake one way, come back down the middle and more. And he hangs on at the 9. It's first and goal Saints.
And we can see why the Tampa Bay defense has struggled all years. It's what do? You can't get home with pressure. You can't get it done with zone. You can't match up man for man. This young defensive team of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being victimized by, next to the Green Bay Packers, maybe the most experienced quarterback receiving core in the National Football League.
Like 20, ready. You ready? Push up.
Blitz coming again. Sproles with a man to beat. And able to wrestle him down inside the 5 is Barron. Second down and goal to 3. Saints trying to add to a 10-point lead.
There again, we keep seeing the probing there. They got Darren Sproles on Mark Barron. Not normally a bad matchup. Barron, for a big physical safety, is very good at working at receivers in the slot. You can even put him on a good tight end. But Darren Sproles with any safety / linebacker type body, that's an advantage you're going to take every time.
Saw Breeze had some problems with his headset apparently inside the helmet. So the backup quarterback Chase Daniel comes out, tells him to play, and here it is. It was a good play.
And what's the matchup? Darren Sproles on a linebacker. Levante David.
Already the 97th career game for Drew Brees, throwing 2 or more touchdowns.
And what Drew Brees tell us, Tom, I can find a matchup pretty much anywhere on the field that I like. Are you mismatching a linebacker on Jimmy Graham? I'm going there. If you put a DB on Jimmy Graham, I'm going to find Darren Sproles. If you put the wrong DB on Marcus Colston, I'm going to go there. He says it's rarely that I don't find a matchup, how we spread people out, that I know doesn't favor us.
$17-0 with under 5 minutes to go. He plays 51 yards after another critical interception thrown by Freeman, who had only thrown 8 coming into this game the entire year and 2 inside the red zone today.
And we've talked about that as also a function of a young quarterback like Josh Freeman trying to keep up with Drew Brees. That once Drew Brees and this offense gets into that rhythm, that puts a lot of pressure on you as an opposing quarterback, because you feel the sense that I have to keep up. It's part of the reason Drew Brees has thrown 18 interceptions. They get down so often, he feels like he has to keep up with what's going on the defensive side of the ball.
Parrish from the goal line. Wrapped up back the 20. Don't miss the Epic 2-night finale. Only the X Factor can deliver. First on Wednesday, the final 3 face off live for your vote. And on Thursday, some of the biggest names in music perform live. Plus find out who wins a $5 million prize. The X Factor. two-night season finale live this Wednesday and Thursday only on Fox. And now the Buccaneers trying to gain a little momentum, looking for some kind of a score in the final 5 minutes of this opening half. Freeman faking one way, rolling the other, and dumps it off to the backup tight end Luke Stockard. And that's a gain of 14, call it 15 on first down.
You're just going to see, again, that boot and waggle with the tight end releases, patience, getting outside the pocket to find an open guy. Luke Stockard is a guy out of Tennessee they really felt could be their lead tight end. They got Dallas Clark in the offseason. This is a big physical receiver. I don't know that he's as nifty down the field as Dallas Clark, but he's a good all-around tight end.
Good protection this time. Boy, that's just an awful throw. It's not been a good day. And a second straight week, it's been a bad first half for Freeman.
Yeah, I remember last year, Tom, we had Tampa a couple times. They talked about their difficulty getting started, and it's carried over into this year, even though we're talking about a team with a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, new philosophy. This last one, that intermediate, we talked about how they're a big play offense, but they don't have efficiency in the intermediate game. Josh Freeman under 60% on the year in completion percentage.
Second down and 10. And there's nowhere to go. Lofton 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Freeman last week against Philadelphia in the first half was 5 out of 16. Total of 79 yards of offense. And so far today, 76 passing yards, 2 interceptions for Freeman.
Well, they're 26th in the league in third down conversions, and a part of it is because of the lack of efficiency. Yeah, they got big plays, and as well as they're running it, they're in a lot of convertible third downs. This is a little bit tougher.
Out of the backfield, it's Ware, but once more tackled shy of the first down marker. So punting is Tampa Bay, and now you're giving Drew Brees and his Saints over 3 minutes to play, 3 timeouts, and of course you have 1 stoppage with a 2-minute warning.
Josh Freeman knows, his coach Greg Schiano, he knows that the last 3 games is all about what are we going to do now? Are we going to get better? What are we going to do when we're on the road down 17 points to a division rival? Right now, the answers aren't coming for this young Tampa Bay Buccaneer team.
Hunted away by Kanan, and Spurs dropped right at the 20. Good coverage by Leonard Johnson. 2 minutes and 43 ticks away from halftime. How about it, Kurt Menefee?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, we'll get you all caught up on a great day of action in the NFL, including a huge AFC matchup as Peyton Manning and the Broncos visit Baltimore, and Houston tries to bounce back against Andrew Luck and the Colts. We'll see you on the Visa Halftime when these guys will be working.
Brian Billick, you make your home in Baltimore. You won a Super Bowl there, coached for a decade with the Ravens. What about the move this week of John Harbaugh firing offensive coordinator Cam Cameron?
Yeah, this late in the season, I don't want to say a desperate move, but clearly some things going on when you make that kind of move on a 9-14. Of course, as always, it's when did you win the 9 and when did you lose the 4? You know, Cam Cameron had been under fire a great deal. And at the end of the season, John Harbaugh went in, it kind of said, look, no, we can go forward together. But I think part of it has to do with, obviously, the lack of offensive productivity. A lot of it has to do, I think, with the relationship between Cam Cameron and Joe Flacco. That's not the closest of relationships. I let Jim Zorn go a couple years ago. He and Jim Caldwell are very close. Jim Caldwell, for the first time, is going to have an opportunity to say, okay, what would you do if you could actually call the plays?
Brees with running room, and that is a first down. He slides up to the 35, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. Saints with the football, all 3 timeouts remaining, and a 17-0 lead. Well, some might ask the question, how much does coaching matter? No Sean Payton here this year. That's no indictment on Joe Vitt. Who, of course, came back from a suspension himself, part of that entire bounty game that seemingly never ends, was back in the news again this week. And former Commissioner Paul Tagliabue issued that 22-page report as Breeze is able to get it off before he is dropped.
Well, this is a classic coverage sack. He's got no place to go down. Sproles underneath. Colston goes deep on the outside. Everybody's smothered. Come back to the right side. Graham can't get open. You got Henderson on the outside, or excuse me, Moore. There's just no place to go. Drew Brees normally would get rid of a ball like this, and he was able to get the ball out, but he paid a little bit of a price this time.
Or did he ever? Only Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin with more wins as coach quarterback combination since Breeze and Peyton came together to New Orleans back in 2006. Breeze just throws it in the ground. That was played beautifully by Tampa Bay. And you know, Brian, so much has been made about Bounty Gate, almost to exhaustion, but it came back in the news, as I started to mention earlier this week. And we're not talking so much about that. The overall effect of Bounty Gate on this team, in your opinion, would be what?
Well, first it takes away your head coach. Then it takes away your interim head coach, your general manager. And we saw it this week. Not huge, but there again, it all came up with the verdict brought down by the Commissioner Tagliabue. There again, it comes up during the week. One more thing for your players to have to deal with. It's been an ongoing saga that just every second you're not preparing for the opponent at hand, whatever the reason, it hurts you, and that has hurt this same team.
Well, third down, incomplete, nearly intercepted. So now Freeman and the Buccaneers will get the ball back. Jonathan Vilma's been in the middle of all that. He has said all along he wants his reputation and his name cleared. Now, whether or not that's something that's ever going to happen, only time will tell.
Let's keep in mind, Commissioner Tagliabue did not absolve those players. He simply said he felt the organization and the coaches were more culpable. They're spinning a little bit like, well, we've been exonerated. Well, no, you haven't. Just a change of responsibility. So that's where I don't know what was accomplished this week by the verdict or judgment by Commissioner Tagliabue, but it has certainly kept it still in the news. And as a coach, that had to concern me if I'm Joe Vitt, because it's just one more thing we have to deal with.
Hey, you know, I think what more importantly to Saints fans now, there have been so many rumors swirling around about the contract that was and the contract that wasn't. Getting back to Sean Payton, is it a done deal that he's actually going to come back here? His reinstatement by the Commissioner Roger Goodell, as you look at Mickey Loomis, their general manager, you know, really it's a state of flux in so many areas right now. Will Sean Payton be back here next year?
I cannot fathom the circumstances that would let Sean Payton leave here. What that would do to the league, what it would do to this organization would be stunning.
Freeman on first down. Throws incomplete. Knocked out of the hands of DJ Ware by Albert Mack. Mack had a big 73-yard interception return for a touchdown against the Giants last week. So you think Sean Payton's going to be back here next year?
I just can't. What that would do to the league, whatever the circumstances that led to it, they had an agreement that it was agreed upon. And every contract, player and coach, goes through the league, and often it'll come back and go, well, no, you got to make an adjustment here or there. That's all this was. If Sean Payton were to leave the New Orleans Saints, I think it would do irreparable harm to this league.
Freeman had a lot of time, and then time ran out. Great coverage down the field. He took a lick from Will Smith. Well, don't forget, coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy will have scores and highlights around the league. There are a lot of big games around the NFL. No RG3 today for the Redskins. They have Kirk Cousins leading the charge today, and they're in front so far.
Big game. And Tommy, we're in another situation here with the third and long Tampa Bay. New Orleans may still get the ball again on a 3rd and 10.
Freeman, sacked. Now do you spend a timeout? You almost have to if you're the Saints.
Absolutely. And this is what I'm talking about, Tom, about the maturation of a young Tampa Bay Buck team. You're down 17-0. You're just going to see a twist on the inside here. But just the orchestration at the end of the half, it may not seem like much, but your objectives are, yeah, we want to go score a touchdown. Secondly, no, we want to get in position for a field goal. But lastly, it's we don't want to punt the ball back to particularly an offense like Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. And that they've given Drew Brees 2 opportunities inside of a 3-minute period of time. This is the type of growth that Greg Schiano's got to see in his team over these next 3 games.
So 1:18 to go. Saints have 2 timeouts remaining. Brees so far today is hit on 16 out of 24. A couple of touchdowns, 178 yards. And look at the total yards in this game. Tampa Bay almost a carbon copy of the game last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, when they couldn't do anything in the first half, getting shut out, then rallied from 10-0 down to go up by 11 and lost on the final play of the game on a touchdown to Jeremy Maclin. Booming punt once more by Kanan. Sproles from the 25. Crosses the 40. Crosses midfield. Run out of bounds at the 38-yard line with 1:04 left.
Tom, this is why I said everybody is looking for that Darren Sproles type player. They've got this hemmed in pretty good, but look at him make people miss. Excellent job by Darren Sproles in under a minute, giving his team an opportunity. Drew Brees, 2 timeouts inside the opponent's 50. What do you think he's going to do at that time? If I'm Greg Schiano, I'm making Josh Freeman get up. I said, come over. I want you to watch what a great quarterback does with 2 timeouts and enough time to get in scoring position. That's part of the learning curve.
Graham a catch down to the 30. That'll be a gain of 8. Clock continues to run. Down to 50 seconds. Graham once more, and boy, he took a hit from Barron. Number 1 pick out of Alabama.
This is a great job by Barron, who is that physical presence. Great hit. You know, someone's got to tell me the difference between that hit and the hit we saw in Des Bryant last week
by Reggie Nelson
in a huge play. There was no difference in those 2 hits. Why is one a penalty and why not? We'd said it during the game. I thought that was a huge mistake. That had a big impact on that game.
That could have an enormous impact on the season for the Bengals. That was a drive where Dallas wound up scoring their only touchdown in the second half to come back and win that game. And that drive kept alive on the penalty that was whistled against Nelson. Timeout called by the Saints. 1 more left.
Yeah, this is the thing that you just love out of this offense. Drew Brees, baby. Here's a shot to the ground. Now he's outside to Marcus Colston. Oh, those 2 covered. I'm going to go into David Thomas for a touchdown. He's not there. How about Lance Moore? I'll go to Lance Moore. Oh, by the way, there's always Darren Sproles I can go to. There are so many options. He's got his he's gone to 7 different receivers today. Each and every one of them can kill you. And I always talk about it. People ask me, what makes a good receiving corps? And I tell you what I want. I want to be able to take my 5 guys and go on the road, and you can give me any 5 you want, and I'm going to beat you on the basketball court. And that's what they've got. They got their big man, Jimmy Graham. They got their off forward in Marcus Colston. They got the 3-point shooter by way of the big play with Devery Henderson. They've got their off guard with a Lance Moore. They've got so many different options. You don't want all of the same guy. Everybody brings a different talent to the table.
What a throw, and what an even better catch by Graham. And they're hurrying to the line of scrimmage, rolling down to 25 seconds. 1st and goal at the 7. What an unbelievable throw and catch.
Yeah, this is the defense has to make a legitimate effort to get back on sides. Drew Brees a little upset because he's saying, look, the defense cannot deliberately slow down us getting to the line of scrimmage. They have a right to get back on side, but I think Drew Brees has a case here. They chewed off more clock than should have been allowable. And oh, by the way, let's watch Jimmy Graham down the middle of the field. And this guy, remember, is going to have wrist surgery at the end of the season. Wow.
That's what Jay Glazer was reporting earlier today. Ahmad Black was a player who then walked back after that catch the other way on the Saints line of scrimmage about 10 or 15 yards, then came trotting back up to get in position defensively, and that's what Drew Brees is screaming about.
Yeah, there's a fine line for intent.
So is she.
Yeah, she's upset. I can't imagine which side she's screaming for. But I think Drew Brees has a case there. They should, at the very least, have stopped the clock.
All right, second down and goal after the spike. And a touchdown to Lance Moore.
What I call my off guard. My off guard just hit a three-pointer outside the, I tell you what, just so many weapons.
You know, Lance Moore has been an unheralded player, but it's been 7 years now since he walked out of the University of Toledo as an undrafted free agent and really has emerged through the years as one of Drew Brees' most reliable targets. I mean, you look at Moore, a college free agent. Marcus Colston drafted in the 7th round.
Jimmy Graham, a 3rd rounder.
Yep. Pierre Thomas, a college free agent coming out of Illinois. I mean, their biggest weapons, or some of them anyway, are guys that could have been had by anybody in the entire NFL.
And as we noted earlier, a lot of their higher end picks are on the defensive side. With the weapons they've got offensively this offseason, I think I just locked the offensive guys out of the draft room. Okay. And I draft 7 guys at every position to rebuild. And Steve Spagnuolo was interesting. He talked about the fact that they opened, not by excuse by any stretch of the imagination, but they opened up with Washington and Carolina, RG3 and Cam Newton. That took your focus to all training camp for a certain style of play. That when they then got into the more conventional offenses, NFL offenses, it kind of put them behind the 8 ball. They didn't play well, and they haven't played well, but they have some talent here. They need to augment it just a little bit. Steve Spagnuolo will do a good job. Obviously, with Sean Payton coming back, this organization is looking forward to this season ending and starting anew, getting ready for the 2013 season.
It's not a happy face.
And when you have to explain that much as an offensive coordinator to your head coach, it's normally not a good thing.
B.J. Ware on the bouncing kickoff up to the 34-yard line. We have one more play. Tampa Bay will get the ball to begin the second half. The last time New Orleans pitched a shutout in the first half, it was in Tampa. October the 17th of 2010. That's a long time ago.
And they've done it by attacking the strength of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've not seen a big play down the field by Tampa Bay. So it's been, okay, let's see if you can go 10-play drive. They're next to last in the league in 10-play drives and haven't come close to generating one here.
So the Saints, losers of 3 in a row, where they have just been overwhelmed by 3 straight division leaders, starting with a game against the 49ers, then Atlanta last week against the Giants, giving up 52 points, losing in the Meadowlands. But back on the home front, and Drew Brees throwing it all over the field.
It's a joy to watch Drew Brees operate on a team that's out of the playoffs. There again, you can learn so much. He recognizes, now how much more does Drew Brees have to throw the ball to get better? No, but as a team, we want to finish strong because it's been proven time and time again. You finish the season strong, it's a stepping stone into 2013.
That's the end of the opening half. 24-0 Buccaneers trailing the Saints. Lisa, halftime report right after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. 24-0. New Orleans in front. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. But Tampa Bay will get the football to begin the second half after being run over in the first 30 minutes by the Saints. Both these teams come in having lost 3 consecutive games. Saints have gotten all the way back to 500. Tampa Bay was 2 games over 500, and everybody talking about the playoffs. But now 3 straight losses, trailing 24-0 here. We'll see if they can bounce back in the second half. And that one booted through the end zone. Well, Brian, the bottom line is you're still facing a Saints defense that ranks dead last in the NFL. So if you can find some answers offensively, you got a chance to get back in this thing.
Well, we've already talked about it. They haven't gotten the big plays. That's the hallmark of the Tampa Bay offense right now. They have the capability of being efficient in the running game. Doug Martin's had a good year. But as I said earlier, they're next to last league in 10-play drives. New Orleans is going to get in a configuration that says, we'll give you anything underneath you want. We're not going to give you that big play. We're going to see if you can go the length of the field, and that's the challenge for Josh Freeman in this offense. Can we do that?
First down carry and blasted is Martin by Jonathan Vilma. Let's check in downstairs with Laura.
Well, Tom, I asked Greg Schiano, is it something Josh Freeman isn't doing or something the Saints defense is doing? He said it is unfair and inaccurate to put all the blame on our quarterback. He said we had a lot of communication issues. We're going to fix that, as well as our third down defense, which is hard when you're facing a team that is so good in that area. The big thing he told his offense and defense at halftime, settle down.
Second down and 10. First time we've seen LeGarrette Blount check into the backfield. Thrown down the middle of the field, and it is caught. Or is it incomplete? No catch by Tyquan Underwood. Laura, again, back to you.
Thank you. I also talked to Joe Vitt, who said defensively loves what they're doing too. Josh Freeman said we've been mixing up our defensive looks, our fronts, our coverages. We're keeping him off balance. That's what we want to keep doing. He's not happy with the 24-0 score. Go figure. He said, I've been preaching all week, all season. We haven't finished a game. We're not judged by a quarter, by a half. Finish this game.
All right. Laura, thank you very much. Third down and 10. Freeman all day, and now the pocket collapses. He'll run it. But looks to be about a half yard short of a first down. There is a flag down.
Holding, offense number 79. That penalty is declined, brings up fourth down.
That's Jamon Meredith, the right guard. They didn't know if he'd be able to play today, nursing a tender ankle. I talked about all the shifting because of injuries to Pro Bowl guards for the Buccaneers. Carl Nix, a longtime Saint, and Davin Joseph over at right guard.
Well, we've already talked about they had a great draft, getting guys like Mark Barron, Levante David. They had the best maybe free agency off field in terms of Vincent Jackson. You talked about Carl Nix, Eric Wright, who's not playing as well. So they put together the combination of drafts and using free agency. And here's a fake.
How about this? We've seen this from Keith Tandy before. And he is up to the 48-yard line. So Greg Schiano looking for some kind of spark. Trailing for 24-0, and they convert on the fake punt.
And why not? Why not take a shot like this? Now the key is, what do you do with this? Can you take advantage of this type of and got a flag here. We're going to have to see what. Oh boy, this would be lethal if it took away a first down on a bold move like that out of Tampa Bay.
There's no foul on the play. First down.
There you have it.
Just a direct snap to the up back right here. It's all about a number count. He could have called it off if it weren't right. Just right downfield. Nice call, and why not? Right now, and why not do something like this? Nice job. Give your team something. Again, we talked about special teams being the difficulty last week for New Orleans against New York. Let's see if this is a spark now for this Tampa Bay team to get into the end zone.
A gain of 18 on the fake punt. And now Freeman again, great protection. And looking down the field to Dallas Clark. And it is intercepted by Isa Abdul-Qaddus. He got his first career interception last week against the Giants, and now he's made it 2 weeks in a row. And Josh Freeman continues to look around and bark at somebody. That's his third pick thrown today.
Well, unfortunate interception for Josh Freeman. I think he betrayed a little bit by Dallas Clark. Clark on a double move, but this ball was a jump ball. He was counting on Dallas Clark to settle and out-battle the safety for the ball, and Clark was running down the field like he was going to be led down the field. Again, another miscommunication. We saw an interception on a throw to Vincent Jackson that turned into a turnover. Same miscommunication there. You can see Dallas Clark saying, I was looking over my shoulder for the ball. I didn't know I was going to have to go up for a rebound.
First carry of the second half for Mark Ingram. He's all the way up to the 41-yard line. A gain of 31 season long for Mark Ingram.
Watch Jed Collins, excellent lead up and opening down the field, turning this into a big play for Mark Ingram. And Ingram knowing, okay, I got me a big play. Let me cover this thing up, because the last thing I want to do, these fast DBs are going to run me down. I know that. I'm going to cover up and make sure the ball doesn't come out.
Once more to Ingram. Got a good first down carry. That'll be marked right at the 44-yard line, a gain of 5.
And New Orleans continues to rotate personnel. It's fun to watch. New Orleans runs 3-4 guys on. Now Tampa Bay's got it. It's like watching lines changing in a hockey game, with Tampa Bay trying to keep up with all the personnel changes that New Orleans has thrown at.
Pitch it to Sproles. That was a big gainer in the opening half, and he has a first down right to midfield.
And we can see the second half plan of the New Orleans Saints. We talked about this deep receiving running back core to go with a great receiving core. They got Pierre Thomas. They got Mark Ingram. Chris Ivory's not even up today, and you throw in a Darren Sproles. Their ability to run the ball, they take pride in that. They know that's the balance they want. They're up 24-0. I think Joe Vitt wants to show, yeah, we'll let Drew Brees throw it around, but we'll play smash ball with anybody and set the tone going into the next year.
Handed off to Pierre Thomas, and a gain of a yard. Some big games going on around the National Football League in the early window here, Brian. In Atlanta, 24-0 leading the New York Giants. I tell you what, you look at the Giants, you look at the Bears losing now 21-7 to Green Bay. Redskins losing at Cleveland early in the third. I mean, you're talking about enormous games with staggering playoff implications, as Thomas stays on his feet to the 42. I mean, it is still conceivable that the 49ers are on the road later tonight in New England. You've got Green Bay trying to stay atop of their division. The Giants trying to hang on. We know about Washington, Dallas, Minnesota winning big.
And all three of these teams very much into it. Not that St. Louis and Tampa and New Orleans aren't. Obviously, mathematically, they are.
They're done.
But mathematically, there are 2.5 people per kids per family in the country, which is mathematically correct, but practically totally wrong, because nobody has a 0.5 kid, right? So it's the same thing.
Brees, great protection again, and that is a recipe for trouble. Graham, a first down to the 32, and we go to Los Angeles.
All right, Tom, let's show you how the Packers got to 21 on the Bears. A back shoulder throw. Aaron Rodgers to James Jones, his third touchdown of the day. So Green Bay would clinch the NFC North with the win, and Chicago would move down in the wild card chase with a loss. Tom, Coach Billick, back to you.
All right, Patrick O'Neill, thank you very, very much. Well, Green Bay, they just seem to have the Bears number, don't they? And that Bears team is reeling right now.
Yeah, it is. I think Green Bay's serving notice of what the power in that division and maybe in the NFC is, just like we saw New England last week. Got a big game on the docket here with New England and San Francisco. That New York Atlanta game, you mentioned it earlier, Tom. Atlanta getting by New Orleans on that big Thursday night game was big because they had not played New Orleans well. And it was like, okay, yeah, you're winning a lot of games, but can you beat New Orleans? Now with the beatdown they had in the playoffs, obviously with Atlanta, it's all about can you win a playoff game? Well, we'll find out when we get to the playoffs. But by the way, the team that beat us last year in the playoffs, we're beating them 24-0 right now.
And that could be a divisional round matchup, perhaps. Wide open, and a touchdown for Joseph Morgan. Told you Morgan, only 7 catches this season, but for over 300 yards, and now a 34-yard touchdown.
And this is as simple as a screwdriver. Just go vertical. Look how quickly Drew Brees gets the ball up and out of his hands. To have a Joseph Morgan now to go with the Devery Henderson, who has been their big play guy down the field. We talked about having that basketball team and a lot of options. To have the vertical threat, 2 vertical threats like Henderson and Joseph Morgan, along with the intermediate of Marcus Colston and Jimmy Graham, and the drop-off to Sproles. Boy, this is as complete an offensive group as there is in the league.
Tell you what, when the Saints want a wide receiver that nobody else wants to draft, they go to the Buckeye State. Moore, and now Morgan. Didn't take long. 92 yards, 8 plays. 17 of their 31 have come off the 3 Josh Freeman interceptions. So trailing 31-0 after the touchdown pass to Morgan. Buccaneers will get the football. What a day for Drew Brees and the Saints. 4 touchdowns. 21 of 31, 260 yards without a turnover. And you're talking about Brees, who has struggled so mightily during this 3-game losing streak. First down catch made up to the 25-yard line by Martin. Call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile and get coverage of every NFL game this holiday season while on the go. Crossing pattern, a catch, good enough for a first down to Williams up to the 35. Washington has just scored again to go ahead of Cleveland. And really, that's just the 3rd quarter just underway. 17-14 Redskins.
Tampa's gone into a no huddle, trying to change the tempo of the game. Not a bad move. Try to make something happen, cut something loose.
Left alone is Williams. Pretty nifty move there. And it's run out of bounds. 45-yard line. Well, we talked about both of these teams and the way their seasons have gone. Started poorly. Bucks 1-3, Saints 0-4. Tampa Bay won 5 out of 6. So too did the Saints. And both have had a rough go over the last 3 weeks. Each with a 3-game losing streak. For Joe Vitta's team going from 500 to 300. And Greg Schiano, his team going from 2 over to 1 under. It's starting to look more and more like what will be a 4-game skid for the Buccaneers, trailing 31-0. Dallas Clark the catch. Run out of bounds at the 40.
And in fairness, you know, it's again, how does your schedule fall? I said it earlier, you know, when you're 9-4. When did you win the 9, and when did you lose the 4? Those 3 losses against San Francisco, Atlanta, and New York. Those were pretty good football teams, and they were pretty competitive, except of course the New York game where they just got blown out. So this is a better football team than their record indicates, but yet they are what their record says they are.
An eye on Vincent Jackson, who came in with 56 catches for over 1,100 yards. He does not have a single catch in the game today. Only twice has he been targeted in a game.
And I've said it many times, defensively, you can take away anything you want. You want to take away Vincent Jackson, you can do it. You can roll coverage, you can bracket it, but at what cost? Are you going to make him pay with Doug Martin? You're going to make him pay with Dallas Clark or Mike Williams. So far, Atlanta has not been able to make them pay for taking away a Vincent Jackson.
3rd down and 6. Throwing a catch into the hands of Dallas Clark, and that's a 1st down to the 30. 7 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. All home teams so far.
And they're kind of going with not a true no huddle, but kind of the sugar huddle. Again, this is something they haven't done a lot of, and you can see right here they're still learning to orchestrate it.
Looking for Williams, trying to go up and get it. Covered well by Patrick Robinson. And a frustrating day today for these young Buccaneers. Brian Cox over on their sideline. Josh Freeman, 3 interceptions. And a 31-0 deficit. Freeman gets it away, and once more, security blanket there in the middle of the field is Clark. It's down to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
And this has got to be 4-down territory, sitting down 24-0 here, or excuse me, 31-0. You know, they're 2 of 8 on 3rd down. That's been their nemesis. They just haven't been able to sustain drives. So now Greg Schiano, I'm sure, putting them in a 4-down territory, because when you're down 31 points on the road, you desperately need a score, so the play calling should reflect that you got 2 downs to get it.
Crossing pattern, and that's a 1st down catch, but there is a penalty flag back behind the line of scrimmage. This might come back.
Holding, offense number 22, 10-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
You see Doug Martin here, and that's part of the issue. As well as Doug Martin has played, he can see just gets beat on the inside, has a takedown. He has had some issues in protection. That's why you see him get replaced on 3rd down, and they bring in DJ Ware, and that's tough on a young back. That's probably the single biggest thing that a rookie has to deal with is protections in the NFL to protect your quarterback. They got to look to try to get half of this at least to keep in that 4-down mentality.
Freeman, good protection. That 5- and 7-yard stuff just not going to get it done. So now it is indeed 4th down and 15, and indeed it is 4-down territory when you're down 31-0.
And they're not sending on the field goal team. You know what? I'd call that play that the Ravens ran on 4th and 29 against San Diego. I got to tell you, in all the years I've done this, I've never had a 4th and 29 in my play calling. And out of frustration, Greg Schiano saying, come up with something here, because we're going for it on 4th and 15.
Think about what that 4th and 29 play has meant to the Ravens.
And the ramifications.
Play clock down to 1. They just do get it off. Freeman looking around on 4th down. Just throws it down the field and not a receiver in sight. As he gets up off the deck and they give it away on downs. 31-0 with 5:21 left. in the third quarter. Well, we talk about the Giants getting drilled today in Atlanta. The Washington Redskins have now opened a 10-point lead in Cleveland. Dallas will play at home later today against Pittsburgh. It's conceivable we have a three-way tie atop the division race with Washington holding the tiebreak by the end of today. What about the story of the Washington Redskins playing that game today without RG3 and the backup Kirk Cousins, who won a lot of big games at Michigan State? Great leader is Cousins.
I'm going to be interested in looking at that film this week. I imagine what I'm going to see is Washington getting back to the more conventional stretch zone that Mike Shanahan's known for. Kirk Cousins certainly operating a different game plan than RG3. I'm sure he made the calculation. RG3 looked good this week, but let's give him another week to get healthier. We think we can beat Cleveland with Kirk Cousins and bring him back on the road to Philadelphia. You and I have got that game. Anxious to see Washington go into Philadelphia next week, particularly with that divisional record. They beat Washington. They go to 4-1 in the division. That could be huge.
I don't think anybody saw that coming when this year began. Everybody felt like the Redskins, who had really struggled under Mike Shanahan, trying to make all kinds of changes and a difference a rookie quarterback can make. But if they're able to win that game today without RG3, that speaks volumes about where that entire team is right now.
And they defensively lost Brian Orakpo, Adam Caricature. I mean, that's huge, because if they were just that much better defensively, now you could really see the damage that they can do going forward. They've done a nice job. Jim Haslett doing a great job dealing with an injured defense for the Washington Redskins.
Rolls up to the 43-yard line, spun down there, shy of a first down, so a 3-and-out for the Saints with under 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter and a big lead. Green Bay a 21-14 lead at Chicago. But Denver, and I really want to get back to this Baltimore situation, Brian. No one knows it any better than you did. You were there a long time, won a lot of divisional championships, a lot of playoff games, won a Super Bowl. They fire their offensive coordinator earlier in the week. And in their first game, when now Jim Caldwell calling the plays for the first time on any level, at the pro level in his career, Joe Flacco in that offense, as this one will go into the end zone. Denver is beating Baltimore at Baltimore today, 31-3.
Tom, this is what you're talking about. Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Keep in mind, Baltimore, that 9, if it goes to 9-5, could have easily been 8-6 if it weren't for that 3rd and 29 conversion.
4th and 29.
4th and 29, excuse me, on that conversion. So this thing is really in Pittsburgh later today, obviously. Or tonight, it's got the Dallas Cowboys. Cincinnati with a big win on Thursday night. How emotional a loss was that to Dallas, the game that we did last week?
Again, you got back to that penalty you brought up earlier. There was thrown on Reggie Nelson, the Bengals safety, on a hit against Dez Bryant. That if they don't throw that flag, the Bengals win the game. And with Baltimore getting drilled today, that would be a tie in the AFC North for first place. First catch of the afternoon for Vincent Jackson. Look at Joe Flacco. Hey, he's not had a good year. Not off to the great start, but it has not gotten better.
And normally struggled on the road, but has been so good at home, and they're sitting at 15-33. You know, Jim Caldwell's a good coach, but to have never called plays before, it had to be a dramatic circumstance for John Harbaugh to let go of Cam Cameron this late in the season on a 9-4 team. There's a lot of reasons to change a coordinator, but at 9-4, obviously sensing there was an issue there. And now the question is, what do they do going forward? They've got New York, who's going to be in a desperate need to win. Now losing to Atlanta, the Giants, excuse me, 27-0.
Well, they're dealing with looks like a cramp out there. We hope on the field for Albert Mack. We'll be right back. Well, as always, we'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's broadcast in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea on AFN, the American Forces Network. We cannot thank all of you for all you do. God bless you all, standing tall, proud, and strong for the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Not much to be happy about if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Down 31-0. Dallas Clark will catch up to the 30-yard line on a second down, and that will convert it into a first down.
Tampa continues to stay in its no huddle. They moved the ball fairly effectively until they got down to the red zone. The penalty backed them out and put them in a 4th and 15, but worked fairly effectively the last drive.
Freeman steps up down the middle of the field and a sliding catch by Jackson at the 50. Apparently they have struck up the band. The Saints are marching in right below us.
They are right below us. They are cranked up here. They always have a good time in this city. You gotta love it.
Oh yeah. Freeman again to Jackson. And he steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Came into the game 278 yards short of Mark Carey's Tampa Bay single season receiving record set all the way back in '89 of 1,422 yards. So he has been a free agent gem indeed.
And I like the fact that Josh Freeman's having to orchestrate and call these plays to make this happen.
Trying to get Jackson to win a jump ball. Covered nicely back there in the Saints secondary. Greer there in coverage.
That's typically a play that Vincent Jackson, and I like the throw. If I'm going to throw up a jump ball, that Josh Freeman has learned that just because Vincent Jackson is covered doesn't mean he's not open. He's the kind of guy like a Calvin Johnson, like an Andre Johnson, that you can throw that kind of ball up to, a Larry Fitzgerald, and that one-on-one usually is going to favor you.
Jackson once more to the 20, and that's another first down.
And clearly the last three really big plays that have put in this position has been to Vincent Jackson. This is where now a Mike Williams needs to show up, because if there's going to be single coverage or an open zone by the New Orleans Saints, it's not going to be with Vincent Jackson.
Well, you know, with all the beating on the field and with a fan base and in the media the Saints defense has taken this year, you know they want the shutout in this game here today. And you can say, well, you're up 31-0. You got to get a win. You got to get a win. But those guys right now on defense, they want to keep that goose egg up there.
And there's nothing worse for a team or an offense than to be shut out. Right now, for Greg Schiano and what he's trying to do in these last three games, to be shut out would be emotionally devastating. It would set the program back.
Second down and 2. Freeman will throw it. And again, look into the corner. This time from Martin, and covered well by Bush. Third down.
And I talked about Greg Schiano, what he's trying to get done. It was interesting visiting with Coach Schiano. And I know where he is right now. Keep in mind what this guy's been through the last year. When this season's over, Greg Schiano is going to be emotionally and physically spent. You keep in mind he finished his college season. Then you get a head coaching job in the NFL. You have to piece the thing together. You move your family. You change the culture of an organization. And now after a long season, I guarantee he's running on fumes.
Blitz coming. And Freeman, that jump ball to Williams. And did he get it? No. But once more, when you're trailing 31-0, they'll take one more crack at it. Fourth down upcoming.
And we've seen a couple jump balls. This is an excellent catch now. Oh, boy. No, he didn't maintain control through the process. Looked like he had it all, but with the one hand, he got both feet in bounds. He has control. Now, if he can just hold on to it as he goes down to the ground, and he can't, the ball pops out. I'd like to, and we go round and round with this all the time. I'm okay with jump balls when I got big guys that can go up and get it. I'd like to see a little bit more orchestrated calls here. a little more designed to the offense to begin than a couple jump balls to Vincent Jackson and Michael Williams.
Timeout called by Greg Schiano. I would imagine Greg Schiano, after the season's over, will be checking out the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic right here on Fox, January the 4th. Great matchup. You called him Johnny Football.
How about that? An aptly named. What an amazing story. This guy was 3rd on the depth chart going into training camp, and you win the Heisman Trophy. And you know what's in front of this kid right now? Oh, but can you do it again? That's all he's going to hear between now and the end of next season, right? Welcome to the big leagues, son.
Of course, only one player in the history of college football has ever won it twice, coming back to back. The great Archie Griffin.
Let me guess. I'm gonna. Let's see. Archie Manning, Ohio State.
Or Archie Griffin.
Archie Griffin.
Yeah.
Archie Manning.
Archie Manning was pretty good.
He was. We had dinner with Archie Manning. Lovely, lovely dinner with him at his place. Archie Griffin. I knew I was going to get an Ohio State reference here.
I mean, I always find it interesting because there have been some great players in college football that have won the Heisman trophies, a sophomore, a junior, Reggie Bush. Matt Reinert, just in recent years, a couple of guys, and now Johnny Manziel have 3 more years. 4th down.
Can you call this a big 4th down when you're down 31-0?
It's 4th down. It is for the Buccaneers. See if they'll go for the safe convertible. Ball tipped. Looked like his arm was hit as he threw it. Martez Wilson, linebacker, converted to a defensive lineman. All Saints at the end of 3. (31-0). Buccaneers turn it over on downs, and the Saints will start this drive from their own 12-yard line as we begin the 4th quarter in New Orleans. Jarred loose on the hit. And is that a live ball? No, they're saying incomplete pass.
And this will bear looking at. The key is, was he behind Drew Brees? Looks like no, that's an incomplete pass. I thought he might be a little bit deeper. Had he been right about on the 5-yard line, there's a chance it might have been a lateral, but he was a little deeper than that.
Boris Cadet, the rookie out of Appalachian State, had it knocked loose by Anthony Gator. 2nd down.
5-9.
Ingram off to the left side, and he's up to the 15. That'll be a gain of 3. So 3rd down and 7.
Jamad Bushrod had left for a little bit. He's back from cramping up.
You know, I've always wondered about that, Brian. Obviously, you know, the human body is capable of extraordinary things and some strange things. But these athletes who have constant monitoring, they watch what you eat, they watch how much you drink. And so frequently we see week in and week out, maybe a lack of hydration, but a lot of players cramp up through the course of games, have to leave and get an IV. I mean, is that something as a head coach that you even had to think about going into a game and my guys had enough fluid in their body?
Absolutely. The hydration, particularly if you're on the road. Of course, Bushrod and the Saints are at home, but on the road, we were very specific about, depending upon the flight, to make sure, and it was on every player's seat, you had the Gatorade or the liquid, that it was, guys, drink your fluids, particularly on a flight. Everybody needs to hydrate when they fly, but particularly players, because now, and that's the difficulty of going on the road, you got to, particularly long flights, you got to keep, because these are finely tuned athletes. It doesn't take much to put that fine-tuned athlete off his rhythm, his biorhythm, so to speak, and hydration is huge.
Morstead puts his right foot on it. Angle toward the sideline and out of bounds. So trailing 31-0. Less than 2 minutes into the final quarter. Raymond and the Bucks back out there looking for their first score of the game. The Sidewalk Saint, been performing in New Orleans for 22 years.
Looks like he's listing there a little bit. He's been there a long time.
31-0. Freeman and the Bucks from their own 33-yard line. Been a quiet day today for Martin. Breaks out of 1 tackle, picks up 2. Flag down.
Holding, offense to left guard, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, Tampa Bay has enjoyed increased success this season, thanks in large part to their off-season additions. We know about Coach Schiano, then the draft we brought up earlier. Some are comparing that to the great '95 draft. And then the big free agent. So, look, they could lose their 4th straight game. They're down 31-0 with 13 minutes to go. All but a given it's going to happen to go to 2 games under 500. But Brian, the bottom line is, when you look at the Buccaneers and you say, okay, where were we this time a year ago? We ended the season on a 10-game losing streak. Won 4 games the entire year. You have to feel better about where you're going as a franchise, at least today. Now, 2 weeks from now, you lose 2 more, and everybody's saying, hold on a minute.
Yeah, what's the difference between 10 and a 6-game losing streak? Well, 4. You know, I can add. But still the mentality, and that's what Greg Schiano's fighting so hard for, is to create that mentality that we have changed the culture here. They've got talent. Carl Nix wasn't even on that list. They've got talent. They've addressed both sides of the ball. They've drafted well. They've used their resources well. But it's got to show up on the field. And if they go on a 6-game losing streak, that's going to be a tougher sell for Greg Schiano than otherwise.
Flag down. That one blown dead before it ever gets started. Let's be honest about it.
Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty, still first.
Brian, it all comes back to the quarterback play.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself the question. He's 24 years old, in his 4th year in the league, 3rd year full-time as a starter. Had the great 2010, bad year last year, good year this year until the last 3 weeks. Now, clearly, Josh Freeman has taken a couple of steps back. But moving forward, is he definitely the guy that you believe can lead your club to not only a playoff appearance, but being 24 years old, multiple playoff appearances?
Well, there's 2 parts to that question. Yes, you have to organizationally decide, do we have our guy? Secondly, if not him, who? And that's a big part of it. Who's going to be out there in free agency? It doesn't look like a lot right now. In the draft, even though we had 5 guys drafted this year, it doesn't look like this is going to be a big quarterback draft. You can take a shot on a guy, but need is a terrible evaluator, particularly at the quarterback position. So those questions go hand in hand. I promise you that if Josh Freeman were to get to the free agency market, that there would be a market for him. You know, he has not played well as of late. I like Josh Freeman. I think if he has stability around him that is they're building here, Mike Sullivan is their offensive coordinator, Ron Turner, the quarterback coach, this guy can continue to develop. You said it many times. He's a young man.
Thrown his 4th interception of the game, 2nd in the arms of Jabari Greer.
And right now we're just throwing up prayers. I don't know what he expected and what he thought the receiver was going to do.
New Orleans defense ranked dead last in the NFL coming into play today. Had 10 interceptions all year long. They have 4 in this one.
Well, we said they were going to get into a passive zone and dare you to throw deep. He threw deep. Got it turned over.
Lance Moore run out of bounds after a gain of 7. Fox tomorrow from the creators of How to Train Your Dragon. Brian, the broadcast premiere.
Dragon Gifts of the Night Fury. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds like fun. Then the original cast of Ice Age is back for a mammoth Christmas. Don't miss the holiday fun tomorrow on Fox.
I'll tell you who got it on this year, Brian. I'm not sure anyone of all the analysts around the NFL has handled the promos on Fox like you have. I mean, you're on quite a run.
Not quite the run that this guy is, though.
Mark Ingram. Run out of bounds. I told you he had a season-high 68 yards last week, and that gain of 26 will push him up over that number here today. 10 carries, 80 yards for the former Heisman Trophy winner out of Alabama.
What I liked about the selection of Mark Ingram is this is a tough ball carrier. Like a Pierre Thomas, you've got the change up in Darren Sproles, like we said. That adds a physicality. You know, normally a passing team like the Saints gets known as a soft team. Like every passing team, they talked about the Bill Walsh teams being soft. They weren't soft. Those were some pretty tough defenses. But it takes on a track mentality. It adds a toughness to the personality of the persona of the New Orleans Saints that will pay dividends.
Well, I mean, I think that Sean Payton would be the first to tell you. Drew Brees would probably second. When the Saints run the ball and run it effectively and run it well, it's when they are at their very best. Year they won the Super Bowl, they were in the top 10 in both rushing and passing. Well, they have become so pass heavy these last couple of years. And there are games where you have catches like that. Great really catch by Morgan. And there are games where you don't make that catch. It's a different ball game.
And here's what I like about what's going on right now. And they're up 31-0. They can say, what are you doing throwing the ball down the field? Joseph Morgan is going to be a player for this organization. We talked about them developing undrafted free agents, late draft choices. You know, Joseph Morgan now, this is a big part of his growth pattern going forward to add yet another receiver. This is an undrafted free agent that you add to the mix, continuing to develop. There's things to get done at the end of the season, and New Orleans is getting it done.
Morgan, a young man who grew up, we brought up the Pro Football Hall of Fame earlier in Canton, Ohio. That's where Morgan grew up. And obviously was heavily recruited, started his college career at the University of Illinois. But then, for whatever reason, after 2 years there, decided, nope, I'm going back to a small school, Walsh College, back in his home state, and nobody wanted him as far as a draft pick is concerned coming out of college. But now getting the chance, it's not bad, 41 yards per catch. Pretty good.
That'll get somebody's attention.
Collins injured on the opening kickoff of this game, but has been back in it for most of it.
I pride myself on knowing schools, small schools, mascots. I got to tell you, I've never heard of Walsh College.
Really?
Well, now he put them on the map.
20-20.
Drew Brees, you think he's in the middle of a playoff hunt right now. Look at the focus he's got going.
Try to thread the needle in there once more to Graham. .300-yard games, and he's right at 300 here today. 65th all time, 5 behind the leader Peyton Manning.
How impressive has it been what Peyton Manning's doing right now? You know, overcoming the injury, basically rebuilding an offense in his own image in Denver. Good, talented group, but bringing it together. And now on a run, and again, now beating Baltimore 34-10.
36-yard field goal try, good by Hartley. Well, you said 34-10 there. It's 34-0 here. $34-0. Saints in front. Well, we are going to take it upon ourselves to make an early call on results from the noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern time games around the NFL today, and we're going to update you on the playoff picture. So we're going to do that when we come back. 8:04 to go. We're looking at the NFC. We are calling a win for Atlanta, going to 12-2. We're calling a loss for the Giants, getting shut out 34-0. Calling a win for the Saints, loss for Tampa Bay. When you look at that picture, and we'll get back to it after a play here, and to think, starting in the NFC East, of where we might be after the early games today. Washington is winning by 10, but a long way to go in that one.
So if we
but
make
Washington
that
could go to 8-6, which would tie the Giants.
Chicago loses.
Goes to 8-6. They are trailing, but that one not over yet. 21-13. Bears trailing. They do have the ball with 3.5 to go in Chicago, as Underwood has a first down catch. But Dallas, how big is that game now for Dallas? At home against the Steelers, it's a huge game for both teams. Steelers need it. Cowboys need it.
And then next week with Philadelphia, we've got that game in Philadelphia. We had the first game in Washington, where Washington really kind of turned the corner in terms of recognizing they could make the kind of run we see them on right now.
And then we shift gears over to the AFC. We're going to give the Denver Broncos a win. They're already their divisional champions. We're going to give the Baltimore Ravens a loss, sending them to 9-5. So they're a game in front of the Bengals. Indianapolis is trailing by 9 late in the fourth quarter. Steelers later, Jets later.
That Pittsburgh-Dallas game, like you said, particularly with Baltimore faltering. Cincinnati keep coming back to that tough loss by Cincinnati that we did last week against the Dallas. But now the key was that everybody in the AFC North lost. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati last week. And the fact that they're all playing one another. That Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game is going to be huge, as is Cincinnati, then Baltimore at the end of the season.
Yep, Bengals will be on the road in Pittsburgh next week. Then the Ravens finish their year in Cincinnati. Freeman is sacked. Ball is loose. Cameron Jordan getting a sack. And we wait to see who fell on the football. And Jordan comes up with a football. 5 turnovers today for the Buccaneers. 4 interceptions by Freeman. And now the hit causes his fumble.
Coming off this right edge, Cameron Jordan, first-round draft choice out of Cal, almost gets hooked there. Stays alive. Josh Freeman just holding on to the ball a little bit too long. Boy, this couldn't get much worse for Tampa right now. And then let's give credit. You got Will Smith making a big play off the edge. Curtis Lofton coming in from the inside, stuffing the run. Smith again putting pressure on Josh Freeman. And right here, Junior Gillette to strip. And not even on there was the last one by Cameron Jordan.
Chase Daniel will come on to play quarterback in relief of Drew Brees, who throws for 343 yards, 4 touchdowns without an interception. Daniel in his 4th year as a backup to Brees out of the University of Missouri.
They jokingly said that Chase Daniels is on this team because he was the only one shorter than Drew Brees, and they didn't want to get through the complex. He's an interesting.
That always comes from you guys who are 6'5".
I know. But you know what? And of course, Drew Brees is the poster child for anybody 6 foot or under, the college players. Oh yeah, but he's like Drew Brees. The guy, he may not be nothing like Drew Brees, but he's 6 foot. So okay, we'll make the analogy that he's like Drew Brees.
Incomplete. There's a penalty flag down. That was the second pass attempt of the year by Daniel. 1 of 1 before that one for a 10-yard gain.
Holding, offense number 60. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, you got to love the fact that the NFL has backloaded the schedule with divisional play, which is great. Something I'd like to see them do, I'd love to reseed the playoffs. I think if you can win a division, and we've seen 9 and 7 teams, 8 and 8 teams win a division, that's your reward. That'll keep that last couple games alive as well. That if you can, instead of having a 10 and or a 12 and 14 go play a 7 and 9 team, that keeps them playing and alive, the teams at the top end, because you might get reseeded from a 3 to a 4 or from a 2 to a 5. So I think you want to keep things active all the way to the end of the season. I think one way to do it is to reseed the playoffs.
But let me ask you this. Let's use the AFC as an example. You know what a rugged AFC North is like. When you're, any of the teams in that division, and 6 of the games are going to be those kind of games. And then there's the AFC West.
Right.
Now,
That's my point. Why shouldn't a team in the AFC West or the old NFC West, not this year, but in previous years, let an 8-8 NFC or AFC West team, not to be disrespectful, get to have a home game? Got a pass interference down the field here. But why let one of those teams have a home game as a reward when you've got a 11-5 or 10-6 second place team in a better division?
Defense from the spot of the foul, automatic.
Yeah, just got a hit there. Mark Barron coming over the top, clearly hit before the ball got there. Not a vicious, not a defenseless receiver hit, just kind of a useless. I'm going to knock him before the ball gets there. But that's my point. Anything that keeps the season active up to that 17th week, where typically guys are going to now sit down. I think that's one subtle way to maybe do that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're not asking me, so.
Ingram finds the end zone. That'll have him knocking on the door of close to a 100-yard rushing game. Not quite there. But taking advantage are the Saints of another Buccaneers turnover. It is a 40-0 game.
And some may even, okay, you run out the score. Now when I got Chase Daniels thrown to Joseph Morgan, I mean, that's just developing players and playing the game.
Well, with all the talk today of what's going on around the NFL, we cannot wait for next Sunday, a Fox NFL doubleheader. The Saints will be in Dallas. Some will see the Rams and the Bucs, Vikings and the Texans. That's a huge game for Minnesota. We haven't talked much about them. Brian, you and I will be in the NFC East. The Redskins and the Eagles in America's Game of the Week. Not quite desperation time, but borderline desperation time for both the Giants and the Ravens. And even desperation time for the Bears. Boy, it's going to be fun these last 2 weeks.
Well, the New York Giants have Baltimore and Philadelphia to finish off with. In Baltimore, obviously, they're going to have a big game to end the season against Cincinnati, as we talked about. New Orleans Saints got to feel good about themselves, and obviously Tampa Bay. They got a lot of work to do these last 2 games to regroup, to see if they can salvage something at the end of the season.
One of the great songs in all the NFL.
They get it cranked up.
They really do. It's
for those that are left.
It is fun. It is fun. They only play it every time the Saints score, which means it gets played a lot. It started early, the opening drive of the game. Touchdown for the Saints, and all the turnovers. 4 of them in the game by Freeman. When grossly underthrown, and Drew Brees to Morgan. 4 touchdown day, 343 yards, and then at last interception thrown by Freeman, and his day is over. Dan Orlovsky takes over at quarterback for the final 4:47. Well, Garrett Blunt also back into the lineup. I think Blunt's an interesting story, Brian. We all know what he did after being picked off waivers from Tennessee in 2010. His rookie year, rushed for over 1,000 yards in just 7 starts, had 7 100-yard games. Talked about maybe his inability to pass protect like they would like him to. But based on the way we saw him run, and we saw him a couple of times during that 10-win season, I got to believe he'd be in somebody's backfield playing regularly, wouldn't he?
Well, but why not here in Tampa Bay in terms of this is a 2-back league now. You need 2 big backs. You talk about 2 physical backs with Doug Martin and Garrett Blunt. That's a pretty good combination.
Well, I mean, you're right about the 2, but let's be honest about it. I mean, Blunt never plays anymore. I mean, he's gone 4 weeks in a row where he's carried the ball at times one time in a month.
The question becomes, now that you know Doug Martin's your guy, there's not many guys that are 300-plus carry guys, 350 like we saw in Emmitt Smith.
Right.
You're seeing Michael Turner now paying, and in terms of being worn down as a 300-plus carry guy. So at Doug Martin, I can see next year, I don't know that he's going to scale back on too many of his carries, but that's still a good 1-2 combination with 2 big physical backs. There's certainly value in having LeGarrette Blount on this roster. Now, certainly he's going to want more carries, and at the point he's a free agent, that may very well happen. But with the other assets they have, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch for Tampa Bay to have.
Orlovsky getting his first game action of the year. Tampa Bay has been involved in so many tight games. Before today, they had not lost a game by more than 8 points the entire year. Lowe's post-game show coming up next with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. And man, oh man, they will update you on everything going on around the NFL. The Redskins are going to get a win to go to 8-6. It would move them into a first-place tie with the New York Giants. Dallas with a chance later
68, 10-yard penalty
to make it a 3-way tie atop the NFC East.
How about that NFC North with Green Bay, Minnesota? Minnesota making a late run here at Green Bay.
Minnesota will have the same record as the Chicago Bears. If the Bears can't come back in the final minute, Minnesota has the ball with 3.5 to go, beating up on St. Louis 36-22. Who would have thought that?
And Adrian Peterson, you've got to marvel at Adrian Peterson. I mean, with Christian Ponder and the lack of passing offense, he faces an 8-9-man front every single play and still is on track for better than a 2,000-yard season. You can see the look of the faces on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You talked about it, Tom. They finished with 10 straight losses last year. Greg Schiano trying to change the culture in Tampa Bay. This is going to challenge that.
Well, they're going to let this run down to the 2-minute warning. Trailing 41-0. The last home shutout by the Saints, 1991, when they blanked the LA Raiders. Hey, Brian, we've talked so much today about all the teams in the NFC playoff picture and how important their games were today and looking ahead to next week.
Where you going, Bill?
Tell you one other team we have not talked about that has a chance to open up at least a little bit of daylight with 2 games to go as Underwood makes a catch in midfield. North of the border, later on this afternoon, the Seattle Seahawks play against the Buffalo Bills. And right now, Seattle in the NFC is the leader in the wild card.
And they've got, with San Francisco playing New England, and then Seattle and San Francisco facing one another, that picture hasn't been finished yet either in terms of the NFC West. How great is it to actually have 2 teams in the NFC West that actually matter?
Been a while. But Garrett Blount strong running to get to the 39. There's possible bonus coverage coming your way over most of these same Fox stations. Minnesota 36-22 leaders at St. Louis. Here, the Rams have had a nice year.
They have. Jeff Fisher's done a nice job. They'll build on what they've done so far this year and add another team to that NFC West equation.
Orlovsky to put it up. And he is incomplete. He had a look on Nate Byam. Lowe's postgame show coming up. Green Bay is just officially polished off Chicago. The Bears are officially reeling. They were the darlings of the football world early in the year. Brian, you and I saw them, and we wondered at the time. when their schedule got tougher and all of a sudden teams learned to hang on to the football, would it last? They played better competition, and it's not gone well.
Injury on defense, an unshuffled or unsettled offensive line. Kind of a one-trick pony with Brandon Marshall, receiver. He's got over 100 receptions, and nobody else has much of anything. Puts a lot of pressure on Jay Cutler.
Owusu gets run out of bounds at the 17-yard line, so Tampa Bay has a chance to get on the board if nothing else.
Well, that's always earlier on. I was about to question whether you kick the field goal just to not. I mean, to get shut out is devastating for an organization. I don't care what it is. 10-0, 20-0, 41-0. Maybe on that long fourth down, maybe they kick a field goal. Here, I don't know how you kick a field goal just to salvage. You know, a shutout is just, it shakes an organization to its core.
We brought up earlier that the last home shutout was 1991 for the Saints, and that was against the then Los Angeles Raiders. Their last shutout anywhere, you just saw, was in 1995 against the Jets.
Now, Joe Vitt, as Laura Oakman told us, brought that Super Bowl trophy in. He doesn't look like he's having as much fun as he should at 41-0. Brought that Super Bowl trophy in the locker room and said, guys, we're on a march to get there next year. We're out of it this year. You want to be a part of that drive. A lot of them answered the bell.
One play remaining.
And this means a lot to New Orleans. Steve Spagnuolo, yeah, it means a lot to get a shutout. It does. At this point in the season, you're looking for anything to motivate your guys, hang your hat on. This will be a nice bump for them going into the last 2 games of the season.
On third down, this will be the final play of the game. Buccaneers are just trying to score. And now call timeout.
That's a tough one.
Well, Brian, every coach has been there. I mean, you've been on the plus side of games like this. You've been on the minus side on games like this. And let's take from the Greg Schiano camp. You get back home tonight, get in practice tomorrow, and you say what?
I'm not sure you don't get back tonight and you go right to the practice field. You can. I'm just joking, obviously. But it's all about setting mentality for Greg Schiano. And today set them back dramatically. Not only losing, but 41-0 to change that culture that we're talking about. He knows he's got a lot of work in front of him. And these players want to win. Make no mistake. They recognize that they've got to have better than what they did today.
Orlovsky looking around, throws to the back of the end zone, and that's it. So the worst ranked defense, statistically anyway, in the NFL throws a shutout today. A 41-0 win, and we're back to New Orleans in a moment.